Okay, great. So again, my name is LysElla.com, and I'm the founder of Master Negotiators. And this workshop is specifically on the service sales method. So welcome. I want you to know exactly what we're going to go over tonight so that you know what you're going to come away from here with. We're going to cover 3 topics that I believe are fundamental to the service sales method. One of those, the first one, is this concept of service and the difference between service and sales. So first is service. The second one that we're going to be covering is slowing down. So how to slow down and what that means and what that will mean for your sales. And then third is going to be listening and making conversations about the other person, the people or person in front of you, not about yourself and what you can do or what your product can do. So those are the 3 things that you'll be able to take away this evening. So again, for those who missed it or want to recap or are taking notes, we got 3 topics tonight. One is service, the second is slowing down, and the third is making the conversations about the other person, not about you. And those 3 things I find, if you can master those, you really can shift the rate of sales that you are closing. Within conventional sales terminology, we'll call it closing. So basically, increase your revenue, decrease the amount of time that you are spending on the sales process and just wowing your customers. That's what your goal is within this sales method. I should note that if you have any questions, this is a live broadcast and it won't be recorded. So, congratulations for showing up on time. If you have any questions about your particular situation, whatever you're working on in sales at the moment, either your own business or sales for someone else, feel free to post them on this Facebook page. And every once in a while, I'll stop and I'll look down at another screen that I have here to see if anybody has any questions or comments, and I'll go ahead and reply to those. So feel free to do that whenever you want. And like I said, I'll stop a few times throughout the workshop. Okay, so first order of business, service rather than sales. This concept comes from Steve Chandler, who is a coach, and he introduced this concept as far as I know, or at least put it in these words, the fact that you can serve first and be paid later. And here's what I mean by this. This is a tactic that will just wow your potential clients, because everybody in today's day and age is used to hearing a sales spiel and then a here's how much it costs, and then so do you want it? Question or something like that. It works for some things, but for more complex products or services, you want people to experience what it is that they're possibly going to buy. And so, for example, take the story of vacuum cleaner salesmen back in the day when vacuum cleaners were a new invention. And you have 2 identical salespeople. And at that time, I guess they're all men. So 2 salesmen going door to door and knocking on doors and saying, hello, ma'am, usually a woman at home. I have this new thing called a vacuum cleaner. Can I tell you about it? Would you like to buy it? Okay, now there's a difference between serving and selling. And I think this illustration makes it very, very clear enough so that you can apply it to your particular scenario and you can do something different than what you've been doing so that you can get different results. So the 2 scenarios for the vacuum cleaner salesman are, first scenario is, oh yeah, hi ma'am, let me tell you about this new machine. So you move it along like this, you plug it into the wall, you move it, and then it sucks up dirt out of your carpet, and so you no longer have to take your carpet outside and hang it up and beat it with the carpet beater hook thing. And she's thinking about this and saying, like, okay, it sounds a little odd, and I don't really know. It's hard to conceptualize what you're talking about, a machine that sucks up dirt. Like, I'm fine just taking my carpets out and beating them. Okay, so that's probably what's going on in her mind as she's hearing this. Now, same woman, same salesman, but he shows up with the vacuum cleaner. And instead of trying to describe to her what it does, he says, "Oh, excuse me, ma'am," and he takes a handful of dirt and he throws it on her carpet or on her rug. And of course, she probably gasps and says, like, what did you just do that? Well, hold on just a moment, ma'am. Let me show you what a vacuum cleaner can do. And he plugs in this machine and he turns it on, and it vacuums up the dirt in no time at all. No having to haul the big heavy rug outside and beat it with a carpet hook. And she watches that and she says, "Can I buy one? How much are they?" That's the difference between service and sales. And I've seen this work within my business. I've seen this work for other people. Let people experience what it is that you have to offer, be that a service or a product. So for example, I was talking with somebody once who has a yoga business, and she was relatively new in her practice, not in practicing yoga, but in the business of selling her services. And we were brainstorming on ways that she could give people the experience of her as a yoga instructor. And one idea was that she could do a pop-up event, we'll call it, but basically a somewhat impromptu, or it could be planned, event at a park where she would be practicing yoga at a specified time. She was going to then email some friends that she knew would support her and come out, but basically was going to put out the word through every social channel she could think of, through word of mouth, through Facebook, through Twitter, through different networks that she had, saying, "Hey, I'm holding this free event. Please show up if you'd like to do some yoga with me." That does two things. One, it gives people that experience, because you can work on all the ad copy in the world to try to differentiate your yoga practice from somebody else's yoga practice. But we all know that for something like that, when you choose a yoga practice, when you choose a dentist or a doctor or a professional in some realm, a hairstylist, it is rare that people leave. It takes a lot for people to leave. There's a loyalty to that because of intangibles. If you ask somebody, well, why is your lawyer better than somebody else? Or why is your yoga practitioner better than someone else? It may be some things like, oh, well, she's in my neighborhood, or this, that, the other thing. But after that, what's really there is these intangible things that people can't describe very well. Like, I don't know, I just like her demeanor. I just like being around her. I like what we talk about. She always offers me a glass of wine before she cuts my hair. Whatever it is, it's little stuff that is very hard to identify and put into a brochure or into a Facebook ad or into a description. But it's the stuff that people latch onto, and they know instantaneously if they like you or if they don't, if they're going to be a part of your tribe within social advertising words. They know. And so the fastest way for you to get there is to give that experience to as many people as you can, so that you can find those that are attracted to you. So all of this is to give you examples and to get you thinking about ways that you may take your business, whatever that business is, and get creative about how you can serve people. This is before you get paid. How can you let people have an experience of you or your product so that the product or the service sells itself? Because for the right people, those that you connect with, it will sell itself. So shift your focus from having to convince people to giving people an experience so that the right people have a chance to experience you or your product, and therefore be like that woman who saw the vacuum cleaner work. And you notice that in my recounting of this story, he didn't have to ask her to buy. She asked him, "Can I buy?" And it's a magical feeling when somebody approaches you after they've had an experience with you or with your product and says, "How can I have more of this?" Or "Where can I buy this?" That's what you're aiming for. That's when sales gets fun. Okay, so let me stop for a moment. I'm going to look down at another screen and see if anybody has any questions or comments that they want addressed at this time. Okay, nothing posted at this moment that's relevant to what we're discussing right here. So I'm going to move on to point 2 in getting your revenue stream going more quickly and getting you to where you want to be within your business. And that is the concept of slowing down. So, I mean just that. We are in a hyper-rushed world. And when you can learn to slow down your communications, the number of things you're doing, and increase the quality of your interactions with your clients, with your potential clients, with your partners, with the people around you, that you believe have nothing to do with your business. When you can do that, you stand out from the crowd. I got an email once from someone who was trying to sell me something, and a couple of things struck me right away. One was my name was not in the email, and not to say that my name always has to be in an email, but in this particular case, somebody else's name was in the email, which to me immediately said, "Oh, I see, this is a copy-paste, and this was done so quickly because you're trying to scurry around and get as many clients as you can in, that it wasn't proofread." That's what happens when we go quickly. We've all done it. I know why this happened. And yes, I mean, you know, a longtime client will forgive you something like that. But your first impressions are important. And slowing down and even stopping to consider in what order you are contacting people and using which mechanisms is really important. So something that you can do with your current approach is the following. Take this last week's worth of communications that you've had with people, be it in person, by phone, by email, by text, by Twitter, whatever you're doing to communicate with people. And take a good, hard look at each of those communications and ask yourself this question: which of these communications, if any, resulted in a new client. And you may say to me, well, Lise, I'm trying to just get the word out. Okay, that is a different approach, and just getting the word out, getting yourself or your product known to people is one step. But at the end of the day, especially when you're an entrepreneur, you have to be laser focused on where your next piece of revenue is coming from, where the money, what's the closest mechanism to getting you money flowing in the door or increasing the amount of money that's flowing in the door. So many businesses fail because there's not enough revenue coming in, which is the reason why I advocate for taking a cold, hard look at whatever you're doing right now and slowing it down. Stop. Spend a day if you need to, and cut some stuff out. Slow it down. Look at where you have the strongest connections, where you're seeing people really react to you, and it may be through a certain mechanism, it may be through a certain group. My experience has been that the closer to in person you are, the better connection you can get. Now, depending on what your business is and what you're doing, you may be only virtual. That may not be an option. But even if you're only virtual, if you haven't had some sort of FaceTime with your potential clients, such as a webinar like this, an online workshop, do it. People relate to people. And so find within all those communications those that either have given you access to revenue, to new clients in the past, and stick with that, or if you're not at a point where you have any revenue in yet, test out something different than what you did last week. And the reason I say that is because it's tempting to just keep trying what you're doing, but that usually is kind of silly, right? If what you're doing is not giving you the results you want, it's not that you are a bad salesperson, it's not that you don't know what you're doing, it's that whatever you're doing right now, that system is not giving you the results you want. So here's the easiest way to think about it, and you don't have to beat yourself up. There's no emotion involved, nothing like that. Simply, if the system you're using is not giving you the results you want, then change the system. And when you get good at constantly making those revisions and changing the system, every time the results aren't exactly what you want, change something in the system. Says nothing about you as a business person. It says nothing about your success or your failure. It says nothing about how good or bad you are or your product is or your system is. It's simply a way to go faster towards what you want. Takes all the personal emotion out of it and just leaves you with, hey, whatever I tried this week resulted in X. If X isn't good enough for me, let's tweak whatever I did last week, try something slightly new next week, see what that does for me. And eventually, you'll find which pieces of the system you have to tweak in order to get you your desired result. And I do realize I went off on a tangent a bit there with systems, but the main point that I started with here was slowing down. And slowing down relates to systems that have to be able to enough so that you can analyze your systems. Put it for Friday morning, if you something of that sort, make it a weekly occurrence that analyze the results it's giving you. Okay, I'm going to pause again and look at the screen and see if I've got any questions coming in that you might want answered. Okay. Okay, so we do have a question that's come in. So we're saving point 3 for after this question. But the question that came in was, how do I know if I'm charging the right price for my services? And I love this question. And here's the answer. Are people buying? If they are, you're charging the right price. If tons and tons of people are buying more than you can keep up with, your price is too low. Raise it. If nobody's buying, your price is too high for right now. And so what I mean by that, especially if you're at the beginning of a product or a service, if you are just trying to get money in the door and you want product adoption, let's call it. So let's say you have a catnip box that you sell. I saw this at the pet store the other day, where you can, you put your catnip seeds in and you water them and it grows. And it's basically just a wooden pot with some dirt in it and some catnip seeds. And you water them and they grow. So this is not rocket science, but somebody invented this and somebody sold it, to different pet stores. At the beginning, they probably just wanted product adoption. So you know what? They probably cut some deals with, with some different pet supply chains in order to get their product out into the market, to get it seen, to get it known. Now, when you have a physical product, of course, most of the time, depending if you are self-financing or if you have capital, then you can run a deficit and you could even offer it below your production costs to get it out into the market. If you're in a service, it's usually a little easier to offer at a lower price because hopefully there's a higher profit margin available to you. So if it's in a service business, then if you've got something out there that you've put out that you've seen people respond positively to, like, I want that, yes, that's my kind of thing, but they're not buying, try lowering it. Try lowering the price. You don't have to keep it low. It doesn't have to stay at any particular price point for any given amount of time. But if nobody's buying and you're seeing interest, lower it. Try whatever you want. Cut it in half. It doesn't really matter. Just pick a price, go out there, offer it to a few people, see if they say yes. If these are people who genuinely want your service, and usually if people have expressed interest, that means they are interested. There could be all kinds of different things keeping them, and as you progress in your capacity to really serve and get your word out and people start talking about you and referring, then you can increase your price if this is a service business. So let me give you an example. A classic one is the hairstylist. When you're out of beauty school, I'm going to call it, even though that's probably not what it's called, cosmetology school? Well, okay, sorry, hair stylists out there. Whatever your licensing is that you do when you're fresh out of school, most likely, I'm going to guess that most of you can't command as high a per haircut, per color, whatever you charge by price as your colleagues who have maybe been in the business later or longer. But there are also other things that determine what people are willing to pay, right? If you are placed in the middle of downtown Manhattan, there's already a premium put on your service. Now, you have to live up to it. Your first few clients can't come in the door, you do a horrible job that they hate, and then they go and spread the word that, hey, you're totally not worth the Manhattan price. So there may be some external cues that also dictate price. But so for this hairstylist, right, you start out, okay, let's say in my neck of the woods, right now, let's say you could, I don't know, get a haircut at a private, salon for maybe on the low end for $40, I'm saying, and at the upper end, let's say it's $200. I'm in San Diego. Some people in other parts of the country are like, whoa, that's way too high, and other parts are saying, whoa, that's way too low. But I'm just going to give that range, $40 to $200 per haircut. We're going to say this is a haircut alone. You go out there with that $40, and you know what? You probably attract some new clients where they're like, oh, hey, that's a good deal, right? People may be shopping for a good deal, and you wow them with your service. You give them a haircut that for them is pretty much like the haircut they just got for $80. And they are impressed. And then they are loyal. And then they start to refer people to you. And then all of a sudden, within a few months, your schedule is booked up. And it's full all day. So you can do a couple of things. You can grow your business and hire on other stylists. And maybe they're beginning stylists and you pay them less. If you like their quality, it's up to your standards, and then you have a profit margin. Or the other way to manage the demand is then you raise your prices, because all of a sudden you have too much work. And it's very fun also to be at that point where you build your schedule up with all the work that you want from whatever your business is. And it's so popular that you either have to grow in a physical space, or if you are only one person and this is some sort of a service that you're giving that you can't duplicate, really all you can do is raise your price. So I hope that answer satisfies the question of how do I know if I'm charging the right price? Okay, let me look back down, see if there's anything else that I need to address at the moment. And if not, we'll go on to point number 3. Okay. Okay, so point 3 is making it all about the other person. So this one is another technique, if you will, a way of, but I don't want to call it a technique because it's really a way of showing up in the world. And it's about focus and attention and listening to people in a way that is very uncommon. I was just about to say very uncommon today, but for all I know, maybe it's always been uncommon. But if you can train yourself, if you can practice the art of really, truly honing in on the person that you have in front of you, and I mean in all situations, this is how you get good at it. So take note here. If you are looking to get good at genuinely caring about people, because number one, it's awesome and it's fun and it builds amazing friendships for life. And number two, it creates business because not that many people do this. So if you want to get good at this, practice it all day long. So what this means is at the grocery store, when you're in line and the checker asks you, "Hi, ma'am, how are you today?" And the typical response is, "Oh, I'm fine, how are you?" And I'm looking down at my phone to look through my messages, and my kid's running over there and whatever, and a million things are going on, or we exchange some kind of dance, "Oh, it's fine, oh yeah, end of the week, yeah, I'm tired, yeah, you tired? Yeah, we're tired, okay, good, we're all tired." Rather than that, when you are practicing really being in tune with people, when that checker asks you, "Ma'am, how are you today?" you say, you can say tell the truth, whatever it is, but say something like, "I'm doing well today. How about you? And look them in the eye. Ask them that question. And if you don't get an immediately different response, ask some more questions. Get curious about their life. Where are you at in your shift today? Did you just start? Or are you finishing it up? Oh, well, that's interesting. How long have you been working here? Oh, huh. Okay. What first made you apply here? When did why did you first start? How many people do you think in the entire day of running a checkout actually ask a checker some sort of question like that? Not very many. So that's why I mention it as a perfect place to start practicing. Here's something else, though, that it means. If you're going to commit to practicing this and becoming really good at it, it means that you no longer get to give the excuse, if you have ever used this excuse before, of, I don't have time, or, oh my gosh, I'm just so busy. Oh my gosh, I'm just so busy. I'm running around like crazy busy all the time. All that means is that if you're crazy busy, is that you're not choosing where you want to use your time. So think hard about where you're using your time and your mental energy and your physical energy. Think hard about it. We've all got the same number of hours in the day, and I personally am not one of these people that can only sleep 3 hours a night. I have to sleep 8 hours a night. There are only so many hours in the day. You better be damn sure to choose how you want to spend that time. And if you're just spending it without thinking about how and where and with whom you're spending that time, then it's time to stop and to take a good hard look at that. Decide where you want to spend your time. And then you no longer have the option of saying, oh, I don't have time. No, it's that you're not choosing to use your time for that. There are only so many things each of us can do in a day. Where do you choose to use your time? I'll share another story here that I'm always reminded of every time I'm tempted to say something like, oh, I don't have time for that. I was talking with a neighbor, and we were talking about vegetable gardens, basically, backyard vegetable gardens. And I was asking him, oh, are you planting any tomatoes this year, or whatever it was? And he said, oh, no, I don't have time for that. And he stopped himself. And this man is a philosopher, so I see why he saw this in himself right away, but he stopped himself. And he said, wait, let me take that back. It's not that I don't have time. It's that that's not how I choose to use my time. For vegetables, I just prefer to go to the farmer's market or to the grocery store to buy them. I don't choose to spend my time growing them in my garden. And I always remember that, because it's so very true that we're choosing how to spend our time. So for each of us, when we're choosing that, choose who you are being focused with. Choose, to the best of your knowledge, choose how you want to spend each hour of your day. And then go follow through on that thing. Make eye contact with those people. Be focused. Take time out when you need to recuperate, when you can't keep your focus anymore. But be conscious about it, because that intensity of really focusing on the person that you have in front of you or the group that you have in front of you, that comes across in a very powerful way that not that many people care to get good about. So if you care to do that, you will come across and you will be and show up in a room, on TV, on video, by phone. You will show up in a way that is very, very different than the scattered way that most of us show up today. Okay, so that was my third point. Let me do another check, see if there's anything else, any other questions that you guys want answered. Okay, so one just came in, a question about what do I do if I hate networking events? And this is a great, great question, because I venture to say that a lot of people hate networking events. And here's what I've found has really worked for those of you who are not very comfortable in that situation. And I'm big on everybody testing out and developing a sales method that works for you and for your personality. And for those who don't naturally feel very comfortable within a networking event situation, this is what I tend to tell you. And that's to stop going to networking events. You may say, you're nuts, you're crazy, what do you mean? And here's what I propose instead. And I guess there is a caveat here. You do have to like meeting new people. So if you don't like meeting new people at all, or you're not willing to practice getting to like it, then hand off your sales to somebody else. Because if you're not willing to get curious about other people and what makes them tick and what makes their lives tick, then you can still be an entrepreneur, but you got to hand off your sales to somebody else, because you have to be curious when you have a sales role. Okay, so that said, let's just say you do like meeting new people, but you don't like networking events because you feel like you're selling in this icky way of selling. Okay, quit going to those networking events. And this is only for you people who don't feel okay there. What you do have to do, though, is start going to events, joining clubs, etc., of people that you just naturally like. So, sky's the limit here. This could be joining LinkedIn groups, this could be joining hobby groups, this could be joining sports groups. Doesn't matter, but the idea is that instead of networking, you are going to be growing your, dare I say it, network of people that you like. And you know what? You end up doing business with people that you like. And people that you like end up doing business with you because they like you. And that's just about it. So if you hate networking events, stop going to them. Don't do it. But do replace them with other activities where you have the potential to meet new people, other activities, other groups that give you joy. Go and join those groups, go and do those things. And I'm not saying show up to this new knitting group and start talking about whatever it is that you sell. No, that's not what I mean. I mean, join that group because you want to join that group and because you like to knit. And start to know those people. And eventually, you know what? Or maybe even the first time you're there, people will ask you, oh, what do you do? And oh, that's interesting. Tell me more about that. Fine. That's a natural, normal conversation. They want to actually know about you. And then when you feel uncomfortable at any given moment, you just bring it back to knitting and say, oh, well, enough about me right now. So yeah, what are you knitting over there? Oh, that's for your daughter. Oh, that's really cute. You know, whatever. Bring it back to them. They'll eventually ask you some more. It'll come back into the conversation. But that's an alternative. When you don't like networking groups, do that. Just start surrounding yourself with more people. Build a network of people, but make sure that it's people that you like. And when you don't like somebody, or you run into a group where you thought you'd like the group but you don't really like it, do not find yourself thinking, oh, well, Lise told me that I need to go join more groups and collect more people around me that I like, but I don't really like these people, but I signed up for this group and therefore I need to stay because I'm not going to networking groups. No. If you show up to the group and you don't like the people, or you don't like what they're doing, don't go back. You only have this life, as far as I know. Maybe we've got more lives, but you got this life. Like, don't waste it hanging out with people that at your core you just don't like. You're not going to go anywhere with your business like that. Okay, so let me give you a recap here. So we covered 3 main points today. One was, gotta look down at my notes here, serve first and get paid later. The idea there is give people an experience of you. Second point was slow down, right? Yes, slow down. So slow down your communications. Take time, once a week at least, to look at your systems, see what results they're producing, and if they're not producing the results that you want, change up the system. Says nothing about you as an entrepreneur, as a salesperson, about how great or how horrible a person you are. All it says is your system isn't working the way you want it to. Change it up so you get different results. And then the third point was making it about the other person, listening, focusing on the person or the people that you have in front of you, making it about them. And a little tangent there was, if you hate networking events, don't go to them. Just start gathering people around you that you genuinely like and connect with. So those are my 3 tips for the day. Please go take those away and do something with them. If any of this made any sense to you, if it struck a chord with you in some way and you think you can apply it to your business, please take these pieces of information and go work them and put one of them into play this evening or tomorrow. Try it out, see if it works for you. And then finally, the last thing I want to let you know about is an online sales course that opens this evening. So it is open now. And what that is a course that is similar in structure to what you saw tonight, except they're short, little videos, a bunch of them in a row, for you to be able to continually develop your own sales strategy and get better and better at quickly getting to the point where you're bringing revenue in or increasing the amount of revenue that you bring in. I deliver them in short little videos that are only 3 minutes or less long, so that you can pop in and do one a day, or you can sit down and do a few in a row. And then that course also comes with once a month a group coaching call on this service sales topic and making sales comfortable for you, where you'll know the call-in number and you'll be able to join any of those that you wish. And then finally, as a bonus, there's access to a Facebook closed group where all of my clients, present and past, who I've ever worked with on the concept of sales, they're in that group. And they're there to support you and to support each other as each of you grows and grows your business. So that's what the course entails. It's lifetime access, so it's a one-time payment. And I am offering that course at the price of $129.99 through the end of this week. And finally, one more piece of information about that. Should you choose that course is right for you and you sign up for that, there is a 90-day money-back guarantee. So you can try it out for 90 days, and this is my guarantee to you. if you put in the work for 90 days, if you go online, you watch those videos, you do the work that I ask of you, you put it in place in your life, in your real sales for your business, and you go into the forum and you ask your questions. You ask questions of me, you ask questions of the others there. You try to help out when others are having problems or roadblocks or stumbling blocks. And you get on those monthly calls. If you do that for 90 days and you are not satisfied, that it did not meet your needs, that you didn't get your $129.99 worth of training in those 90 days, I will give you your money back because I was obviously not the right teacher for you. So keep that in mind. And then finally, one more thing. You know, what am I supposed to say? Something like, you know, and if you order now, you get a second one for free. No, there's no second one. There's one course. That's it. There's everything in there. So no second one for free. But in a way, kind of a second one for free. And that is this referral program that I've put into place. So I recognize that it is much easier to build my business through referrals than through any other mechanism. And I have consciously built my business through word of mouth referrals. And for me, it has been the best way of doing things. And I always like to thank my clients when they refer a new client to me. So in the online format, because this course that I'm telling you about is an online course, that makes it very easy for me to automate a referral to you, a referral payment, I should say. So the way that works is that if you're in this course, you buy this course, and you then refer somebody else to it, and they sign up using your referral link, 40% of their fee that they pay goes to you. So all you need is, all you have to have to actually do that is a Facebook account and a PayPal account. So really easy to do if you don't have those already, and you simply, as you go to refer that, it'll ask you for your PayPal account, so that if anybody that you refer the course to signs up for it, then you get that payment. So just know that it's not a reason to sign up for the course if you don't want the course, but if you know you're going to sign up for the course anyway, and you can think of a few people that you know who you think could really use the course, if this is your kind of thing, you might as well refer it, because what, you refer like 3.5 people and you've just paid for your, more or less 3 people, and you've just paid for your own course. So it's an option, it's out there, wanted to let you know about it. So that's about it. If you have any questions, please post them below where you're watching. I read them all. I will respond to you. You can also message me on the Facebook page if you'd like to speak to me privately or have any questions or want to jump on the phone with me for any reason. So take care. Thanks so much for attending, and have a wonderful rest of the evening wherever you may be. Bye.